Welcome back to Dreamin' Dragons. We've battled slugs. They've fought hard and tested our patience and defenses. They've had a good old feast on our plants and we've put our foot down and said, no more. Where are we currently? How have our plants bounced back? And are our mortal enemies under control? We dropped our first edition of our defenses a few weeks ago. You can check that one out here. We got a few messages and comments following that one with some other handy tips to tackle the terrors. So let's test them out. Here's how our beautiful Connie G was left following the first ambush. Sad and sorry. We patched him up with a bit of slicing and dicing. And here's how it is now. We're back, baby. Bit of new growth here, bit there. Excellent. Time for a solid feed, and hopefully before we know it, this puppy's purring as it tops our trellis. So what have we done to get back on the straight and narrow? A few people dropped the suggestions of copper tape. I hadn't heard of it, so a quick sticky beak online and supposedly slugs get a tingle when their sluggy juices come in contact with the copper and pretty much refuse to cross it. Interesting. So we bought ourselves a roll about 50ml or about 2 inches thick and gave it a red hot go wrapping around our pot. Similar to when I try and wrap a Christmas present, it did not roll on as smoothly as I'd hoped. Maybe I'm just a little uncoordinated. Either way, we got the job done. Here's a chunk of our copper tape and a slug. As you can see, our sluggy friend did not like the look of that tape. Small sample and may not eradicate the problem, but if it keeps them off the dragons, that's half the battle. I got quite a few messages about chickens and ducks as well. Whilst appreciative of the ideas, exchanging the slug problem for a duck poo through the yard kind of problem wasn't incredibly appealing, nor did I anticipate a friendly relationship between our potential new feathered friends and the dogs. But thanks anyways. Another big one that came through was the use of chelated iron pellets. Having the 2 little ones and 2 furry friends, I'm not a big fan of using anything harmful around the garden, and following some recommendations and a cheeky Google, this particular product was highly regarded as safe for just about everything except for the slugs, which is what we're after. Reports no issues for birds, possums, or lizards that may eat the affected slugs either. Happy days! You only need a bit of a sprinkle around the affected area. I'm going for a handful around the perimeter of my dragon enclosure. Slugs come out for a party, take a nibble, and once the pellet reaches their gut, a bit of a reaction takes place and they're as good as gone. Get out! I definitely still wouldn't sprinkle it in my pup's kibble, nor in the kids' sandpit, but after speaking with a mate of mine who's a vet, his green lights were sufficient enough for me to give it a whirl. I've linked the product in the description for your own investigation. Since we went our latest edition of Secret Herbs and Spices, on an evening stroll around the yard there has been a hugely significant reduction in visible slugs. You beauty! I'm confident in knocking off some of our insurance branches now too. Happy days! And for a 50% increase in happiness around your yard too, don't forget to happily hit that like button below and subscribe. It's good for what ails ya.